Hello, you Reds. Welcome back to the United Buzz. And I'm your host, Claire Omutoni. And today we have an amazing uh, episode to dive in. I have one question to ask you. How much do you think you know about Manchester United? Yeah? And welcome back. As I actually told you before, I want to ask you, how much do you know about this club? We all love the team. We are diehard fans, but how much do we know this club? One fun fact I want to talk to you guys about. Did you know Manchester United didn't like almost exist? If that makes sense. They never almost existed. And before becoming Manchester United, this club was known by the name. It went by the name Newton Heath. That's how the team was called initially before it was Manchester United. The club was founded in 1878 by workers who worked at Yorkshire, and also these players were railway employees, just like a construction site. They would just meet and play against themselves. And what happened was by 1902, the club was drowning in a lot and a deep debt. And then they were on the verge of folding. Yeah. They were on the verge of folding. They didn't have any money. They didn't have any resources. And also, what happened was the local owner, the local bro, like these people who produce drinks, he was really not even part of the team. He wasn't part of those people that founded the team. But he was like, you know what? Instead of investing elsewhere, let me just invest in this club. And this person was called Henry Davis. He stepped in and invested his money to save the club. A few months later, Newton Heath became Manchester United. Okay, imagine if that rescue never happened. One of the world's biggest clubs could have disappeared before it even existed. So if they ask you, what do you know about Manchester United? Just know we are happy to be here. We like it here because we almost never existed. And number two, one of the things you might not know or you even know, I don't know, the story behind the theater of dreams. We all know Manchester United goes by theater of dreams, where dreams happen, where dreams come true. When people hear Old Trafford, they often hear, the phrase the theater of dreams, as I just mentioned. The nickname came from Bobby. This was a guy who played for Manchester United for 17 years. Okay. And Bobby survived the tragic Munich air crash. As I told you in the previous episode, these players were playing, normally like any other local players, and then they flew to play somewhere else, and then the plane crashed. And Bobby actually almost died. He was in a critical condition. And then after this, he wanted to pick up the pieces. He was like, what can I do to actually bring back this team? And then after that disaster, they went on to help rebuild the club. And for him, Old Trafford wasn't just like a stadium or a place to be. It was where dreams came true, that hence the theater of dreams. And in this day and age, in 2026, this Old Trafford has hosted World Cup games. It has hosted Premier League games, FA Cup games, Champions League games, and a lot of concerts attended by hundreds and thousands of people. So you see, Bobby was just he just had a vision. He loved the team. He invested in the team, and now we can all witness, the greatness of Manchester United. Let's move on to something even more interesting. Do you see some of our jerseys? Like the Reds. We just have this common color, which is red. But sometimes you see Manchester United fans wearing green, yeah, and gold. Now I want to explain to you or talk to you guys about where the gold and green came from. Manchester United, as I told you, it used to be called Newton Heather. Yeah. This I'll actually put a picture up here to show you the logo of Manchester United they used to have. They used to have a yellow or goldish and green colors in their flag. Now it's all dominated by red, red, red. And many younger fans think Manchester United colors have always been red. To be honest, they haven't. I hate to break it to you, but they haven't. During the Newton Heath era, the team wore green and gold. The colors returned prominent in 2000s when supporters used them as a symbol of the club's roots and traditions. Whenever you see green and gold, scarves, sometimes you see them in the stadium in the stands. You wouldn't you wouldn't be like, "Oh, these people are running mad." No, that actually green and gold holds a significant history for Manchester United. Then if you see them, you're directly linking to the club's beginning in 1878. So those people, some people call them hooligans, but I really don't like that word because it has been misused a lot. I feel like they are diehard fans. That would be a better suit name. So if you see a Manchester United fan wearing a scarf that has, because normally they also have the number 1878 on their sleeves. So if you see them, these are people who don't want to let go of the past, which wasn't ugly. It was just a beginning, and people still remember it. And also, one thing you need to know: the 1999. Some of you people watching home, maybe you're from 2000s, you're from 2005. I don't know, but in 1999, Manchester United won a treble just in 10 days. Ask me how. Ask. I'll wait. Ask. They won in 10 days. They won three major um titles. So Manchester United was like is famously known by winning its treble, and the reality even is more incredible. As a Manchester United supporter, not a single club in England has ever done this. Only United. Well, last year Arsenal tried; they were on good form in the first, quarter, but then they slacked off. Maybe they could have done that, but they never did. And within 10 days, United won the Premier League, the FA Cup, and the Champions League. The Champions League final against Bayern Munich remains legendary because now United were losing 1-0 and then entering the injury time, players were injured, and then someone called Teddy, this was a player, he scored, and then Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he was a former player of Manchester United, but also a coach. There are many people called him Babyface. Well, I I actually thought he looked really like a kid in a good way, in a good way. So after scoring, now we did a comeback. We were losing by one, and now we scored, and then a comeback. Boom! United went from defeat to European champions in just less than 10, like 3 minutes. And then we had obviously the Premier League, the FA Cup, and then the Champions League. So when you sit and belittle Manchester United or ask yourself, why am I even a supporter of Manchester United? This is a club of history, and a big one at that, a huge history. They've done, and let me tell you one thing. I don't know if I will talk about this later on in this show, but United's biggest win was when they scored 10-0. I'll have to check exactly against which team. But yeah, let's move on to the next one. And this one really actually touches home, hits home, because I really liked Ferguson in my young age. Because I'm now an adult. I might not look like 8, but I'm an adult. But ever since Ferguson left United, we actually felt his absence. We did feel his absence. And also, I want to talk to you guys about the Fergie time. In Manchester there is a term called Fergie time or Ferguson's time. This was when players would actually, the opponents would be like, what happened? Like, why do they always score at last minute? And then now they jokingly blame the referees because they're like, okay, do you just add minutes so that Manchester United can win? So that's why they said, like, they called it fudgy time. And I would like to tell you that, you know, teams knew United were deadly in the final minutes. Okay, under Sir Alex Ferguson, players were told to keep like the pressure until the last minute. This was his mindset. This was his philosophy. Don't just say we have only 5 minutes left and then it's done. Whether it's 5-2, whether it's 3-0, Ferguson always told the players, go max, go max until the last whistle. Okay, this mentality produced famous late wins from Organ Solskjaer, Cristiano Ronaldo, and then Wayne Rooney. Those are prominent names. We all know them. So that's why the term Fudgy time was really put in place because he was always like, until the last whistle, we are not going to give up. Okay, that was a fun fact for me. I actually miss the guy. I miss the guy, man. He was always chewing his gum on the sideline. He was always laughing, but he was a beast. He was a beast on court. Anyways, Rashford's career changed overnight. Ask me how. In February of 2016, that's 2016, Marcus Rashford was expected to watch from the sideline. Just like they put, 11 starting, and then others are going to substitute. And then during the warm up, the player that they play on the same position got injured. So when he got injured, Marcus Rashford was really not forced because he was ready, but he really thought, let me give you an example. I mean, like, let me give you a picture. I've worked for a football club. I know how before the game how they prepare. The players like they put it in their head, they sleep on it, they pray on it, they do whatever the players have to know before the game maybe or during like the day of the game, but like hours before, yeah. So Marcus was ready to substitute, and then someone got injured, and then he was forced to come and begin. So what happened was he started. This was when Manchester United was playing a team called Midland, and then Rashford scored twice. Mind you, he was supposed to be sidelined, and then 3 days later he made his Premier League debut against Arsenal, and he scored twice again. I remember I told you about Marcus Rashford, who joined Manchester United at only 7 years of age in 2005. So that's where this whole thing comes from. Like his career just changed over midnight. And really, that's what it takes. That's all it takes. You could just be there. If you're doing YouTube, your video like skyrockets. You could just be anywhere, and then your career changes. It just takes like a blink of an eye. So yeah, and then we go to my most amazing fact about Manchester United because it's about my god. I don't know who your god is, but Cristiano Ronaldo's transformation happened at United. By transformation, I'm talking about career wise, but obviously facial and physical transformation because when he came to Manchester, he was a slim, young kid, you know, from Portugal. He was really, and I remember he still had like crooked teeth. Well, I wasn't. I can't lie and be like I was there watching him like that. But obviously, history is history, and we read. So when Cristiano Ronaldo arrived in Manchester United in 2003, he was skinny. He was 18 years old. He was actually not a forward. He was not a striker. He was playing as a winger, a shocker. He was playing as a winger. And then many Premier League defenders bullied him physically because he was slim, slender, tall, with crooked teeth. But what happened was this guy became stronger, he became faster, He became more disciplined. He became more clinical. And we all know Cristiano Ronaldo has never tasted alcohol, at least according to him. He's never had tattoos. He's never tasted alcohol. He's always been a disciplined guy. That's why he's pushing 40 something and is still like top of his game. Yeah. And then by 2008, because he joined, this was like how many years? Five, after 5 years, him joining Manchester United, he won a Ballon d'Or. And then he was considered the best player of all of a sudden. Now, where are these defenders bullying him? Where were they now? I could really, I would love to see their faces. And many fans, they keep forgetting that Ronaldo, who conquered world football, was largely developed at Manchester United. That's where like his manhood started showing, because he came as a kid and left as a man. That's why he was like, before I retire or before I leave Premier League clubs, I have to come back home. I have to go back to the roots. We all remember he came back. It was not good because he's a professional guy. He was like, how many years has it been since I was here? Nothing has changed. The food we ate is still the same. Like, there is development around Old Trafford, but inside Old Trafford, he claimed it was still the same. It started a lot of controversials. A lot of people kept saying he's a crybaby. He was doing this and this, but you keep forgetting that's why he's pushing all those years and still top of his game. It's because he's disciplined. That discipline. Well, if I was earning that much, maybe I would be disciplined. I don't know. And then let me tell you one thing about Anthony Martial, our French guy. We loved him. I actually miss those days when Anthony was in Manchester United. Him and Rashford and Jesse Lingard and Paul Pogba. Like, well, Martial wasn't really like an outgoing guy. He really kept to himself, but you could see that whole generation. It was like aura farming in Manchester United. Like, they could win, and then like they made life around them seem very fun. I wasn't there, but you could see. Manchester United defeated Sheffield United 3-0 at Old Trafford, okay, with Anthony Martial scoring all three goals. Yeah. And then it was the Frenchman's first senior hat trick and the first Premier League, a hat trick by Manchester United player since 2013. Manchester United's story, is when we talk about an individual person or a team in general, it's not just about, it's not about, like the trophies. No, it's the comebacks. It's the passion. I remember this last season, we could see Cunha, all those new guys, Cunha and Brian Bemo, they started celebrating kissing the badge. Yeah. People might say, but every player does that. But let me tell you one thing, not a player who has played only one season does that. These people have been there when Ruben Amorim was there. They weren't winning. The team was in shambles. Not a single person was happy, okay, in the camp. Here comes Michael Carrick, brings back life. Now these guys were happy to play for United. They were so proud of the badge. They could kiss the badge in the tunnel. You see Sene Lamens like kissing the badge. Not a player who plays one season in a club starts kissing the badge. If you understand about the passion of a club, about the passion of something you do, you don't see people playing 6 months and then start kissing the badges. No, this happened because these players now were starting to see a bigger picture. They're now playing for a team they love, they like, a team that has history, but also they have their life back, if that makes sense. And today is 24th June, and I would like to tell you one thing about this day. As I said, the Anthony Martial thing happened 5 years ago. That was on 4th of June 2020. It was amid COVID. And also, ending here, or actually, I didn't want to end this because I really like talking about Manchester United's history, because it gives you a perspective. It gives you a sense of, I feel like I know this club. It's not just blind supporting. I feel like I know this club. So United, this story isn't just about the trophies. It's not about survival. It's about comebacks, the academy miracles, the moments that change football forever. And that's what makes this club so special and one of the most fascinating teams in the world. Let me know in the comments below what really shook you, or maybe something you didn't know about what I just told you. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We are a happy big family, but how can we stay connected if you don't make it official? Make it official, put a ring on it. Let's be a family by you subscribing, liking, and sharing to whoever supports Manchester United, and you know that you might be supporting Arsenal. But just share it, okay? And I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day. Bye bye.